Folks, welcome back to Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. I always say this, you can't say this, I'm not a corporate sellout, but I am, because my poster's got Molson Canadian and Coors Light all over it. Proudly sponsored by Molson, and we appreciate that. First question, segment 2. Where did the name come from?
Oh, wow, that was that was a lot of fun. When we decided we were going to perform together and make it more of a permanent thing, we realized we needed a name, and everyone was asking, what's the name of your group? So we did our own research. We actually used one of those band name generators online, which came up with some really interesting combos. I think one of our favorites was Sarah Beth Ematron. We decided that maybe didn't quite fit. There was one about like a sonic cat or electric cats. So something like that. But in what we did, we made a list. We sat around together and made a list and about our roots here in Atlantic Canada and our draw towards folk music and Celtic music. And then the name Brigid came up, who is the goddess of harmony music. And she's known as the goddess of sisterhood, 3 in 1, and it just made sense. So that's and we very quickly decided it fit us really well.
I love that. I love when names mean something. I did a fill-in gig with some of my friends at the Halifax Ale House on Friday night. We're 2 sets in, and somebody's like, "What's the name of your band?" And we didn't even think of a name. So we're up there playing. It was 4 idiots playing all these tunes, and it's like, what do we call ourselves? So we got away with almost not having a name the whole night. So I love when names make sense and have a connection like that. It's very, very, very cool. So one of the things I meant to ask you this that night, and I forgot. I'm sorry, but the way your band is set up, can you have multiple configurations? Because you had the horns up there, you had a drummer playing, and could there be multiple configurations? Could the 3 of you get up there and just kind of doing a Brigid acoustic sort of deal? Would you? I mean, is there different configurations you can have of your band?
Yes. So depending on the event, we have very many. So we've done just the 3 of us. I play a little bit of guitar. Both Emma and Beth are amazing piano players. So yeah, it can be the 3 of us. More often than not, we also have our lead guitarist and Beth's husband, Beth Terry. So he was playing with us that night on guitar.
Yep.
And our percussionist, Doug Dean, our drummer. So a lot of times if we do a more acoustic stripped down set, Chris is on his acoustic guitar, Doug's on a cajon, he's got some shakers, tambourines going, and we've got the piano. For the album, there was a lot of songs that we just had we heard these horns. And so we have these friends in Truro, Nick, Derek, and Chris, amazing horn players. So we asked them, hey, would you mind playing on our album? And they said yes. So we wanted to bring them to Halifax that night. Larry Bjornson, everybody pretty much in the music scene in Nova Scotia knows who Larry is. Amazing bass player. We were honored for him to be part of our album. So he plays bass with us sometimes, but a good friend of ours, John McLeod, another Truro guy, so he plays with us too. So we can have anywhere from our full, like a 7-piece band. My dad actually plays guitar with us frequently. He's gonna be playing with us this week at the Carlton. And at the Marigold Center, we've got 2 shows coming up. So yeah, anywhere from a big kind of like 7-8-piece band to just the 3 of us, which is great because it's flexible depending on the event, the size and the style.
Well, and normally for our Christmas concerts, again, we're all music educators, so we do try to go out of our way with our Christmas shows to get all our students involved. Anyone who wants to gets to come up and sing a few numbers with us too.
The only thing I'll tell you is, and I always get in trouble for this, but if you mention multiple bass players, just find a bass player that loads gear, because very few of them do. Where did you record your album?
FNP Matrix Studios in Dartmouth. Scott Ferguson. Amazing.
Okay. So
director music video.
Okay. So what was your process? How long did it take you to do that? I've been part of recordings where it can be weeks. We did one for actually Michelle Ryder's single was literally 1 take off the floor. What's your process?
In the studio?
Or I think in life, this seems to be the way we do things. It's kind of kind of wild.
Yeah, we practice as much as we can ahead of time.
Mhm.
We pay out of the nose for childcare, rush in and do everything as fast as possible. So we had 2 days in the studio booked, and Scott said to us at one point, okay, so we'll get all the instrument tracks down, and then when do you guys want to come back in and record your vocals? And we were like, it's happening tomorrow.
We're here.
If it's not tomorrow, it's in October, so it's happening today.
Yeah, we had an Airbnb booked for the weekend. We were settled. We were like, this is it. We've got no kids, no commitments. So yeah, 2 days in studio. That was pretty much it. I think Chris went back one afternoon to lay down a couple tracks.
Yes, and then we also had a cellist come in, and Janelle, fantastic cellist, and she came in and laid a track for one of our songs that we thought was finished, but when we heard it, we realized it needed a little something more. But for us, 2 days, and we made it happen.
12 tracks.
12 tracks, that's right.
Well, and it's good that you're saying be prepared, because so few people are prepared when they go in. When we recorded Michelle's song, it was written in 15 minutes on my singer's coffee table. We went in unrehearsed. It was one take. We actually did 4 takes, and they took the first one, which was kind of neat. But I'm a big believer in being prepared, because especially if you're spending money.
Oh yeah. There's
nothing worse than going, I could get this quickly and I'm frigging around and messing it up. So to be prepared, I think is if there's any lessons to be learned out of this interview tonight, it's be prepared when you're in the studio.
And that way we went in and we had already made those musical decisions.
Yeah.
So we had hashed it out in the studio. We had tried things. We said, oh, I hate that, or, whatever. Like we all agreed on what we wanted, more or less the finished product to sound like, as opposed to getting into the studio and, tensions can get high, it's personal, it's music. Right. So it was a very easy, smooth, drama-free.
Yeah.
We still love each other
so much.
And if you were to look up my name in a dictionary, it'd be beside the term "can't take feedback," because sometimes I can dig in on stuff. But I find when you have a good producer, so the last little bit I worked with Charles Austin, who is fantastic. Chris Ionetti is another great guy. We're recording with a guy named Jeff Westlake, who's down in Ohio, who's fantastic. But my point is, it can be tough if you don't click with the person that's kind of helping you produce the project. So it sounds to me like that was a good match.
Yeah, Scott was wonderful, and we valued his feedback. Yeah. But he also, I think he respected that we kind of knew what sound we were looking for. Yeah. And I think we kind of chose him because of his background. I don't know if you know Scott very well, but
I know Scott very well.
Yeah. But another drummer, and used to play with the Rankin family, and so I love the Rankin family. I grew up listening to them and the harmonies, so I'm sure that is a huge influence on me. So knowing that that is part of his background was definitely key. And
definitely, and we also made sure he was prepared. We sent him scratch tracks. We said, this is the shape of our song. This is what we envision on this song. So it was like us, our 3 voices and a piano, maybe a bit of guitar. And we're like, well, we hear an upright bass on this, and we hear horns on this. So he knew what to anticipate before we got there. And I think for one of our pieces, after we got it done, he's like, I think this needs bongos.
Djembe.
And we're like, okay. And he added some djembe. And so he could hear, when he understood what sound we were going for, he knew how to fill in the missing pieces. And it was pretty effortless.
Yeah. And so sometimes we would go in the djembe song. I went in and said, this should sound like we're all gathered around a piano and just making music together. And one by one, everyone's picking up instruments and going, I hear this, let's join in. And we're all jamming together. So that's where that kind of came from. Okay, now that I'm hearing some other stuff, how do you feel about some djembe? And I was like, that was the piece that was missing. Yeah. And then other ones we would go, no, this one should sound like the seething anger that lives underneath a deliberate calm facade. And he would be like, okay, cool, yeah, I can work with that.
Yeah. We were very descriptive.
Well, I have a great Scott story that I'll share with you another time, so that it's not committed to tape. Suffice to say, it involves me being a 17-year-old kid taking lessons from him, and him just back from Toronto learning jazz. and him trying to teach me the proper way to hold a stick, and me saying I want to play and spin around like Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, and the rest of it's a very funny story. However, we don't get all the bills paid by Molson. We're still on free Zoom, and I noticed my ticker going here. So you guys have a show coming up this week.
Yes.
Tell us about the show.
We have 2 shows this week. We're going to be at the Carlton on Thursday.
Yep.
The tickets are $25, and $5 of every ticket sold is going to the Halifax Sexual Health Center. We really make sure we try as much as we can to partner with different programs that mean a lot to us in the various communities that go to. So that's one that's coming up this Thursday. I believe our start time is 7:30. So there's still tickets left. We're hoping to see a lot of people from the HRM there. And then the very next night, our album debut concert in Truro will take place at the Marigold Center. And that's Friday, October the 7th at 7:30 as well. There's a few tickets left, but those are going pretty fast. And we're hoping to have the place filled. And we're going to have Larry Bjornson at that performance. The whole band is going to be there. Dad and Doug and Chris. And it's going to be a party. And we have an after party at a brewery that actually has a beer named after our song. Truro Brewery has a fantastic beer made called Someone Like Her. And we're going to go there for the after party.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Larry's great. I've never seen a guy that can play a bass taller than him like he does. I tell you,
right?
Stand up. Yeah, he's tell him I said hi, by the way, because he's a great guy. Great guy. Ladies, you know what? I want to thank you for doing this. We had a hiccup there with obviously the power, but we got her done. I'm gonna try to get Jason to get this out before your shows this week. Last question. Where can my viewers, and when I say my viewers, man, I get people that watch me over in the UK, right down the street. Where can my viewers find you guys?
Well, we have a website. It's www.brigidtrio.com. So you can find all of our show dates. You can find links to our YouTube, Spotify. You can grab the album there. You can even we have shirts and sweatshirts all available on the website. We post a lot on Facebook and Instagram. We've even got a TikTok account. I know we're all like over 30, but we're figuring out TikTok. So follow us there and laugh at our attempts. This is the album, actually. So
listen, ABC, always be closing. Always be closing.
Yeah, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, wherever you stream music, you can find us.
Fantastic. And look, I'm going to do my best to try to get out on Thursday night. I got a busy week myself, but that's no excuse. Thanks so much for doing this, ladies. It was great to see you again.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having us.